Hey guys, today I'm going to address a pretty big problem. I want to make a game, but I don't have any game ideas. Which may not be a problem for all of you, but for some of you, I'm sure you've been there. I mean, I've faced this problem thousands of times, right? I'm sitting here just thinking, like, what kind of game will I make? One good way to get past this is just normal brainstorming, right? You take 10 minutes out of your day and just think of ideas. If you think of ideas, that's great. Just go to your Google Docs, go to your notepad, go to your whiteboard, and just start writing down ideas, right? You want somewhere where you can keep them and just eventually have a list of them. So some days you might not think of any. Some days you might think of 1,000. That's the thing, is just doing this every day, you will at least find one idea that you're gonna wanna make. And at that point, just jump on that and spend your time on that. Another thing is, don't throw your ideas out too soon, right? So you might have a good game idea, but your implementation was wrong, or maybe you just need to walk away, take a breather, and try again, right? Just don't give up on ideas too easily either. And so the next step that I would say is to take that idea and then estimate how long it would take to make that, right? You might not be very good at estimating. And so what a good friend of mine and a good YouTuber, Lost Relic Games, recommends is that you take whatever you think it's gonna take you, and then you double that time. So you give yourself ample time to actually complete the project. And then on top of that, you might even have some leftover time. What deadlines do is they improve your motivation. So you'll be able to keep going and keep going, even when it feels like it's a long, long process. To kind of merge with deadline setting, another good thing is to keep a Trello board or some kind of idea board where you're working on certain elements of the game and you break it down into small mechanics so you can kind of see where you're at, right? So the best part about creating anything is you want to see progress. So if you're just saying, okay, I'm going to make this game, and then a week later you haven't made the game, right? That's such a big goal. You're going to want to break it down into smaller pieces. So maybe this session I'm going to create the character controller, and it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be exactly what I need. You know, that can take a whole day to fine tune something like that. Then the next day, maybe you'll make another mechanic of the game. If it's a shooter, maybe the next session you'll implement shooting, right? So just taking it step by step. Then the third session, maybe you'll implement an actual gun model. And it's important not to take off too big chunks, because then you might get yourself overwhelmed or burned out. You might not find the time anymore to take that time on that game. So it's important, really, when you find that idea, to really take your time with it, break it down, and just seize that moment. Because let's face it, you might really have the next big game. The brainstorming idea is so important. It's so important, especially if you're at some sort of creative block. So let's say you have no ideas, right? And you're on your first day and you're like, okay, I brainstormed for 10 minutes, I still don't have ideas. Well, you don't have to waste your time anyway not making games. Instead, you can learn different mechanics. You can go on YouTube and follow some tutorials in the meantime. That doesn't mean you're in tutorial hell. It doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. What it means is that you still want to learn as you're thinking of what you're going to do. Another thing you can do is go to itch.io and participate in one of the game jams. I'm actually doing monthly game jams every month in 2021 with different genres, so it could make brainstorming a little bit easier. If you want to participate, the link's in the description below. I would love to have you. But the thing about game jams is that they give you a topic, they kind of start that brainstorming process, and while it might not be that game that you want to make or the game that you're going to profit from, it'll be great practice to implement different features, to kind of have cohesive code, picking art assets. It's all great practice. Any game dev is good practice. It's really easy to fall into this trap of like, oh, I'm not doing anything with my life, right? I'm just making games. I'll never be able to make a game. I'll never be able to make money well. Who cares, really? Like, if you're loving game dev and you have the time to do it and you can fit it into your schedule, then just take that time and enjoy it. It shouldn't be about making money. It shouldn't be about, trying to do anything more than just make a game. Besides the fact that game dev has skills and abilities to transfer over to like thousands of different jobs. I mean, you could be a programmer, you could be an artist, you could be a game designer for a bigger company. I mean, you don't even have to be involved with games though. You can do app programming. Literally, these are all adjacent to game dev. So just learning game dev as a passion can really lead you into more monetary gains. Whether it's in game development or not, it's not really important. The thing about game dev is you have to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, the scope of the projects is always so large that you're going to get disheartened at some point. You're going to have to push through. And the passion is what's going to drive you to keep you motivated, to get you going and finish at least a game, finish your first game. So how long should your game be? It depends on your level. What I would think is try to think of a mechanic or two and implement that in a day or two, right? So like give yourself a time limit, right? This is back to deadlines. Give yourself a time limit. Okay, I'm going to make a shooting mechanic in one day, right? So you don't have to make the full game, especially if you haven't brainstormed an idea. I'm going to make a shooting mechanic in one day. So now you have a shooting mechanic. Not only not only have you made the shooting mechanic and you've gotten problem solving, the understanding, but you have that shooting mechanic. So if you have a game that's similar, or you think of an idea that could actually use that, you don't have to go back and make it again. You literally can just copy that code. An important thing about game development is to just reuse your code. Now, I'm gonna go talk about the other side, right? So there's people that have thousands of ideas. They just can't stop thinking of game ideas, but they just don't know how to implement them with programming. Well, that would be the time is, okay, take your 10 minutes of brainstorming and turn it into 10 minutes of just watching a YouTube video about either logic or programming or tutorials. Algorithms even help potentially in game development. Now, in basic game development, I wouldn't recommend just looking at algorithms for hours a day. But what I would recommend is taking like an hour or two and just kind of trying to write your own features. So like, and it doesn't have to be a complicated feature. Write your own character controller. Everyone needs a character controller. Every game needs a character controller. And then as you get proficient at that, right, you learn the variables, you learn what does what, then you start implementing your own custom features. So one thing that I've done before is I had a character controller that was very basic, and what I wanted to do was add more features. A good way to learn how to add features to character controllers is to go and look at different tutorials on YouTube and see how they do things, and then potentially you can merge them together. One of my character controllers is just kind of like a hodgepodge of 3 different controllers that I saw on YouTube. I think the important thing is just to keep going. Never give up on game dev just because you can't think of ideas. It just means that you're not putting the time into the right spots. Thinking is one of the most important things in any aspect of life. Taking some time and just taking a step back, going for a walk, thinking, writing down ideas. These are important things for self-starters, for anyone who wants to do something with their life. So especially in game dev, when it's something so complex, you need a game idea that's fun, that has a game loop, that, that's interactive, that's engaging. Take some time to think about it, and you'll be amazed with what you can come up with. So to close, if this video provided you any value, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it if you like. I mean, anything helps. Also, my game jam is starting on January 1st. There's not a lot of signups, and there's a chance you could actually win $50 just for making a game, right? So I think that's a pretty good deal. I'm willing to part with that $50 to see some of you guys and what you guys can come up with. I really enjoy being a part of this community, and I hope that you guys enjoy being a part of mine. If you want to join my Discord, just click the link in the description below. It's not huge right now, but we're having good conversations with who's there. Go check out Lost Relic Games YouTube. He's got a great YouTube, great advice, great tutorials. He's an experienced game dev that's worked in the industry for a while, so he knows basically the ins and outs of how this industry works. And if you want to work in the actual game development industry, his videos would be some to watch. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day. Bye.